with gas vents, leachate ponds, and the works. That is the modern landfill should have those things. Gas vents, how to manage your gas, and leachate, how to manage the breakdown of the waste, liquid waste. And that landfill was constructed with those things in place. If you go there today now, you see that none of these things are functional.
Why?
And why? Because it deteriorated over the years, Cecil. Maintenance and making sure that it is working. So it's a situation today where it was commissioned. The lifespan was really getting to about 10 years, and then it has now, 20 years old.
No, Scott.
So we have to look for either we look for landfill space, or as I tell you that we have to go to a free strategy prong.
And I like
Yeah.
that, and I like that strategy that you have just given.
Yeah.
How we can recycle. Our garbage. It's important that we go into that educational drive, so people like you can be used as a consultant to really help in the development of solid. The question I would like to ask you, though, Scotty, why do you believe that the present landfill that we use is always on fire?
Fire?
Mm-hmm.
Wait. That fire, to me, that a landfill tires to be on fire has to be, and that is not a, to me, that's looking at sabotage to me.
So you're saying it's a sabotage?
Yeah, that's looking at sabotage. When I was manager of service, actually a guy jumped over the wall and put fire in the tires here. Tires still just burn through, You understand me? Because where they have the tires is separate from the normal garbage. It's actually separated in one area of the landfill where you have to really get access to there. And I don't see how the fire can really maintain not reaching up there. You understand me? So I see it as basically some sabotage going on. Some grievances, and people can just put fire, and you have thousands of tires there. And that is very dangerous fumes. What is people don't understand in that inhaling those fumes there, that is where you have these furans and dioxins. These are cancer causing agents, This is dangerous fumes that people should not be inhaling those things. And I say that sometimes I don't think Dominicans just take their life serious. Because if we take that sort of action, remember there's a reaction to it. People with asthma, people with emphysema, people with all sorts of lung disease, they're having a hard time breathing in their home, Cecil. A woman called me there from Stock Farm, crying. She said she just can't stay in the house. But the person putting the fire, maybe they're really realizing the effects it have on people's health lower downstream.
Someone just said, my ex-supervisor at Solid Waste Management, he knows his stuff. Nice to see you and to hear you, Scotty. but Scotty, what you just said is very, very important. But my concern is this fire goes on for such a long time. In terms of fire extinguishers, the use of the fire brigade, or hydrants, do you all have that at the landfill?
The landfill was equipped with hydrants. But that type of fire, water not really gonna be out in a hurry, I can tell you. When tires burning, we think water can out that in a hurry. Thousands of tires you have there, And when I pass the landfill, I make sure that there must have been over 500,000 tires in that landfill.
Wow.
Yeah, or if just a joke going on there, man.
So let me ask Scotty. So if we are saying that there are so many different values of the usage of those tires, why can't we try to implement as a country those scenarios where we can
But you see,
reuse those byproducts of the tires, or to sell it to countries that require it.
yeah, but
Because I remember, Scotty,
Yeah.
you'd know that as mayor, when I was former mayor of Roseau, or when I was mayor of Roseau, that I brought in people from Martinique who wanted to purchase
The
some
tires,
of those things. Yes,
yeah.
and I don't know what has happened
there
since
was a
then.
there was a tire initiative. 'Cause we went to several meetings in the OECS where we was trying to get one country to buy all the tires. You understand? So there was the initiative. What used that initiative was trying to get us to maybe use the plant in Martinique or plant in one of those other islands that can buy all the tires and they can convert the tires into the products I'm talking about. But that fell by the wayside. But we need to relook that strategy again. I saw it right now. There are more tires in St. Lucia, in St. Vincent, Grenada, in Barbados. You know, all the islands have a lot of tires. And then we need to find a way to make use of these tires. And it cannot be done sometime with, they were saying that Dominica didn't have the volume to do it because of our amount of tires we produce in a period of time. So, but if we get 5 or 6 islands coming together, and with one initiative to get tire in a plant in one area to get it done. There was also another initiative that again was not appreciated, and maybe we didn't seriously follow through on it. That was an initiative by Afimate, where he actually had negotiated with a Canadian company to put a tire recycling plant in Dominica. But the minister at the time was not in favor of it. But I said that was again, that decision when I look at it, that again was another backward decision. We need to look at issues of solving problems, and sometimes we don't have to look at the person that bringing the issue forward. Let us take the issue and move forward with it. That's something works to the detriment of Dominica.
So what is the way out, you think, for the what is the way out right now as we speak for the landfill?
What, that landfill? Basically the landfill had to wind down right now. It's a winding down process.
And from your
we need to look at the
from your
strategy.
from your experience,
From my experience,
where would be the next area that you would look
I would
at?
move the tires to maybe say down Point Wrong down there, the old landfill. Store them down there in the meantime. You understand me? And take it out from that area in Roseau. Put it down in an area where you can manage it better there. And make sure you have security there that people don't set it on fire.
But Point
Right.
Wrong is an area where we know, in reference to the environment, the environmentalists are very cautious about the environment, and to put it in Point Wrong again.
No, you put it in a
bridging-
secluded area of Cecil. There's enough space there to put it in. You're not gonna put it in the face of people, you know.
So what about Scotty? What about Scotty? Because I've not heard you spoken loudly enough
Yeah.
on the issue of separation. What about separation? What do we have to do? And to say to people that are not taking your rubbish or your garbage all together, what do we have to do?
To separate.
Yeah, what do we have to
But
do?
you could get separation has to be legislated, you know. When I started in Japan, I spent 5 months in Japan looking at their waste management system. And the Japanese, everything is legislated. On that day, they put in bottles, tins, this outside. That is all you can put outside, boss. On the other day is organic waste. If you have other bulky waste, you have to call the body in charge to pick it up. So you have to itemize waste and decide that on specific days you have collection taking place, and you have to manage it in that manner, and that has to be done through legislation.
Why
not by word of
can't
mouth.
we do it, Scotty? Why can't we do it?
Why you can't do it?
Yeah,
You don't have the willpower to do it.
How we don't have the willpower?
You don't have the political power.
How we don't have the political
will.
power?
You have the power. You have the political power, but you
But
don't have the political will to do it.
No, but
I
don't see. No, Scotty, I don't see political will. There's no political will in getting things done the right way. Nothing about political will.
You have to have the political will to get it done.
But I'm saying
And
to you,
if-
the
in other words,
political will, Scotty,
why.
is to put.
If I am going to put systems in place, I have my cadre of fellows to do certain work for me. I have a cadre of authorized officers to make sure that you do A, B, C, and D. If you doesn't do it, you get charged.
So that's what
when
I'm
you
saying.
get charged,
So
you
Scotty,
don't go to
Scotty,
some
that's what I'm
position
saying.
to bail you out.
So why? My point is, the politicians have to now remove their hands from this. Okay. So if someone is charged, you are charged.
Yeah.
Don't call the politician. And if you call the politician have the right to say you have just done an offense.
You are offended.
So for instance, I can tell you, Scotty, I can tell you on Thursday, coming from my home at Bobwa, I saw a particular person with a dump truck dumping white goods in the environment.
In the environment.
I screamed at the guy and I told him I was going to call the police, and I called the police immediately, even if I knew him. Knew him well, and I called the police. And I told the police, and I called environmental health, and I told them, solid waste. And I told them that if that is not solved within 24 hours, I am prepared to take both the individual and solid waste to court. And we have to do those things now, Scotty.
Yeah.
I was serious about that.
Citizen.
And I called the police.
Yeah.
I explained to the police. I gave the police the vehicle number. They explained to me about even the vehicle and its legal aspect of being on the road. That's how far I went with it.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, Scotty, that we too have to do what
But you have one to play. But you have in other words, you call the police, and if the police doesn't move, then you see what your problem is.
But if the police doesn't
And
move,
you want to move.
No, if the police doesn't move,
You
I'll go to the chief.
Yeah.
And if it's not solved,
Yeah.
I am willing to go to the courts
Yeah.
to tell the courts that someone is destroying my environment, and so I want them to deal with the matter. So you have to charge the person.
Yeah.
No, the other aspect of solid waste, and we have to blame us as citizens, we are not paying for our waste. A legislation is there, but the trucks go there every day or every other day.
No, you can't say we're not paying for the waste. We're paying for the waste.
No, we are not going to solid waste and pay for the waste.
No, we don't have to, because you're collecting money in a different manner.
No. The law says I have to pay $20. Isn't that what the law says?
No, that's not the law.
What the law is?
That's not in law.
What? So
That's not in law.
So
okay, you see, that's why you have to get your facts clear.
Okay, help me to
Solid
get it.
waste
Uh-huh.
is being managed by, in terms of collection of money.
Mm-hmm.
You have the levy, the environmental levies,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Of vehicles.
On vehicles,
Mm-hmm.
on gas.
Mm-hmm.
It is also on all material that coming down because have a environmental levy on it.
Mm-hmm.
Every material you import have some levy on it.
So how much would you feel?
Let me tell you. Before you come to that,
Mm-hmm.
the cruise ship also paying us $4 per head for that levy.
Per head, per individual, per head.
Every cruise shipper that come in has to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
So that is waste. That money is supposed to go towards waste management,
Mm-hmm.
right? The government will pay a subvention, also the corporation, for a certain amount of money every year.
Mm-hmm.
So they have these areas of stream of raising up the money to manage waste.
Mm-hmm.
So if you collect X amount of money at the end of the year and you not input it back into the system, then you have a problem.
So, but Scotty, some time ago, I'm talking about the $20 I was told
The
about.
$20 is have to go to, you have to legislate that, you know.
Oh, it's not legislated.
No.
So solid waste board just decide that they can.
No, you
keep
can't
it.
just decide it. You have to legislate it.
Okay.
If you charging me money, that's actually put it into law.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just take a decision and you just decide.
So
to
where
go on
are
it.
all of those taxes going in reference to solid
It's supposed to be going towards what are they happening over the years. It goes towards consolidated funds, and the funds now don't want to let it go for solid waste. That's basically how I see it. So when I left solid waste, that was one of my beef with the financial secretary. In that You collecting service money and are not coming to me to pay people when they work.
Let me ask you: Would you have had figures at the time? Would you have had figures at the time as to how much money that your department
They
would
was
have
coming
collected?
up to, I think it was maybe up to what? Over $10 million was coming in from those
in a fiscal year.
those inputs there. But the problem is we were budgeting something $5 million, $6 million, right? So if you get in but $9-10 million, that means you get enough money coming into your coffers
Surplus.
to manage the waste.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the issue though with solid waste though? When you have a situation where the money is coming in and the manager of solid waste have his hand spring, he cannot speak, he cannot do this, he cannot do that. I got stressed myself over you. I die in over a situation and you dare laugh with me. I need a job. You understand me? So you have to get serious with waste management. That's how I see it.
So what about getting into the schools? What about getting into the schools to teach our children now?
But all that is part of your program, education. Your education program is supposed to start now. Since the legal preschool training is supposed to manage your waste. And that's supposed to be done through your syllabuses. You have to infuse that in your syllabus. All these activities that we go through over the years already with management.
I see that you're passionate about solid waste.
I'm passionate about environmental health. Solid waste is one part of it. So if I said solid waste is one issue of it. But my problem about solid waste is an area that we did a lot of work in already. It shouldn't be going back to that situation.
You spoke about this cruise ship. Would the government say that that $4 per head also has to share with the Ministry of Tourism?
No. That is not for the Ministry of Tourism.
It is all for
By tourism. Your clean product is for tourism. What do you think tourism is? If you don't have a clean Dominica, you can have a tourist product now. You don't see how it's coming in then. You must have a clean country to have a tourist product. So what I think government need to do now right now, that $4 was instituted almost 20 years ago. So why don't you tell the cruise ship to give us $1 more? Huh? After 20 years, if we can get $1 from the cruise ship.
You might run the cruise ship away?
Run them away to pay $1 more? Really? I don't know. I sometimes wonder what country I live in.
No, it's not what country you live in. Look, Scotty, you have to understand.
$1 more or 50 cents more.
You have to understand. You have to understand the business that this
what
people
is the
are also
business?
in.
They want to have a clean country. They bring in a lot of tourists into your country. A lot of people trampling on your sites, bringing a lot of more, generating more waste. What are you talking about?
What
it's a cycle, you know.
What is the rate of the other countries of the region? What is the rate of the other countries?
Well, that I don't know about, because that was basically put there maybe on the understanding of the, basically it was that project was for some of the OECS country. I think maybe it was using that same $4. But when I tell you 20 years later now, why can I put it to $5? You understand me? No, I have to pay everything more for everything. So the tourists don't pay nothing more for nothing then. Oh, come on, man.
But how do you see our environment now, Scotty?
Boy, the environment can be better. The environment can be much better than how it is. I'm not impressed with the Dominican environment over the last year and a half. Too much garbage in the environment. What I have to be just see instead of black plastic all over the place like that. That's the environment you call it welcoming to people to come into a country.
If you are given if you are asked by the authority, what are some of the things that you'd ban to help solve that problem?
The problem?
Yeah. What are the things that you'd ban to help solve that problem of untidiness?
But the first thing I like the Japanese method where they use clear plastic bag to put garbage. Because if you go into recycle and reuse, black plastic bag you don't have in your environment. They can put anything in black plastic for you. You understand me? So you seriously about separation, the bag has to be clear. So that's why I tell you legislation part of it is critical. Now we have a thing called collection. I've been talking collection for the longest while. I think the collection of the waste itself is really the hard bit of waste management. If you cannot collect on time, that is where your service management is in problem. If I'm gonna be doing collection, I see have to be reviewed. It might have to be outsourced. You understand? My expensive service drivers told me they don't care 100% about the equipment I give them. I take it for instance, I sit down because the dumper drivers, they have their trucks up to, some guys have their truck up to 18 years, 20 years, and these trucks are still functional. Waste management, you buying trucks for you and after 3-4 years, it just disintegrates. It's not good. And you're supposed to have a mechanical shop at your garage to do that work of repairing. So I think if we can take out that problem of collection, put it onto private haulers, give them a contract, and again, you come back, when you give them a contract, you have to pay them more money. Not only giving them a contract, you have to be able to pay them their money for the work that they're doing. If you could contract private haulers to collect your waste, I think that headache of collection you remove from waste management. Now you're looking at recycling, because I tell you basically we need to start working on a product in the country where we can actually recycle all that organic waste, turn it into fertilizer and soil conditioning for your plants, and then maybe lessen your emphasis on artificial fertilizer. So it's a marriage of the concept of the nature island. And then you have to see how you can manage your tires, those sort of waste there. How do you manage tires from just having it just there on the ground in a bulky manner? Turn tires into something constructive. Recycle your plastic, your bottles. Only PET bottles can be recycled. Made back into PETs, into pellets, and back to bottles again. So a lot of the plastic bottles you have, you can actually turn it back to bottles.
Scotty, hold on a while. Someone wants to say something to you. Good evening to you, caller.
Hello.
Good evening.
This is Freddie. Just want to tell Tony, great job. Good educational for the public, especially for the people of Dominica.
Thank you, Freddie.
That's Freddie Goose.
Yeah. That's your little sister.
My baby sister.
Yes, Scotty, go ahead. You're talking about.
So we what sets it up saying that there's plans of activities and how we can manage this waste, and that's why we need to get Dominica. We need to get everybody together, all the great minds together, bring minds together, strategize, and see how we can move waste in a different direction.
Someone said in the UK use black plastic bags for recycling and waste, but that doesn't mean we cannot use white.
Huh?
I said that does not mean we cannot use white.
We can use white, yeah.
Yeah. Someone just want to say hi again, Scotty. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Mr. Martin Scotland.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening to you. Yes. Los Pisos. You remember that word? Los Pisos?
Who's that?
Los Pisos. Spanish.
Yeah, I didn't get it, no?
Los Pisos. That's the apartment.
Oh, Los Pisos,
that was the football team like that.
Yeah. Voice a bit muffled. Los Pisos.
Yes.
That's the name of our football team.
Anyhow, I had to call to really acknowledge your presence on DBS. Based on your shared expertise, you have highlighted some serious concerns or areas of concerns that I think we need to act on and develop, especially with our tourism industrial trust that's actually on the move. And things like the service industries. I think you made a clarion call for more training because of development of our new international airport. That is integral, it's key, and we have to really put our foot on the pedal, especially based on what's going on right now with some of our workers when it comes to the service industry. We need to be trained, and there is that big call for that. But on the area of tourism, you highlighted the area of sports. I know you're a cricket fan, but one of the things that I made mention of is the gardens. And I heard that they're building something at Point Ground. And to me, that money could have been invested in the gardens to make gardens, although it's a botanical gardens. But as you say in New Zealand, based on your exposure, based on your travel experiences, you have seen things, and I'm happy that you can highlight these things, and that's what we need to people to go out there, come back, and suggest and try to implement things that have been working in other places that can, of course, benefit our country. But I think the gardens is really the proper cricket ground. That area, the wickets, in the days when we played Windward Island Shell games, that wicket is a very good wicket. It's just that they would have to do a lot of work in moving the shrubs and the trees. But if you're going to have an international ground, that is part of the workforce.
Yeah, that
can be the workforce.
Easily.
And I think the stadium can host football as the maker of football. I don't care what people say. Windsor Park for football and athletics. No point going to Point Rock and waste money and these all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. Before I close, I know you're football fanatic just like I do. And I know that you saw a lot of football. There are a lot of, when I talk about football, there are a lot of deficiencies in football. Can you highlight some of the areas of weakness that our national team is experiencing before you leave? Thank you very much. God bless. And keep enlightening the public. We appreciate that. Good stuff. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yes, Scotty.
See, we go back to my football. One man tell me, I don't know. Keep on that, go on that lane. Because he figure he's the maker and know of all football. So they love this done because figure they know everything. Footballing done because basically comes back to fitness of players. If you look at our football, we play in a 45 minutes first half of good football. 70 minutes into the game, the side is just lagging behind because they're not fit. We have another 20 minutes to go. And then these footballers are just falling on the wayside because they're not totally fit. So I always say that the football is a game that you to me you start from like a baby playing that game, and you develop your skills of. You need to have some dribbling skills, some ball control, and you need to have knowledge, thinking. It's a thinking game because you have to be thinking fast on your feet and how to distribute your ball and find yourself in the position to collect the ball. So it's a lot of activities have to be done in Dominica to really push football to a higher level. And I mean, if we're looking at the standard that we have been ranked like about 190 somebody, and we have been in the 80s, 180 somebody. For the longest while, we're not going nowhere. Maybe after 30, 40 years of football, Cecil, have you have you moved up to one or two spaces in your ranks in football in the world? I wonder. But we have a lot of work to be done in football already.
No, as when it twists a little bit, I'm going to follow suit. But before that, let me go to the telephone quickly. Good evening. Good evening, caller.
Blessed evening to you, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Let me say it is such an amazing, a great show. This evening I'm listening very attentively. And Mr. Scott, a quick point I want to make to you. First of all, it's nostalgia, just going back to when you talk about going to the river, because I grew up when I was a child in Hillsborough Street. So between Hillsborough Street and River Street, that was our river, where we go to swim. I guess they call it Sikwi. Or, or going under power. So under power was our weekend. That's where we would go under power. That's what I say. My brother almost drowned me trying to teach me to swim. Take me in the middle of the river and then let you go and say, well, sink or swim, right? Sink or swim. And that's how many, I still don't swim that well. But that's how many of our Caribbean children learn how to swim. You take them in and you figure out your way back.
Yeah.
Another point you were making in reference to the garbage, the garbage collecting, which I think it is such a big issue here, because here we promote tourism, and we're saying that we are on the top of the tourism and where we are, and Dominica is considered, all of that. All great. We are nature island of the Caribbean, and I see it for us to have such a trash problem. Yes, it goes both ways, for individually, household, and the part that the government has to play in, controlling this trash issue. But I think if there were to be a little more consistency, in reference to the garbage pickup, and when you made the point in reference to having the days, because grew up most of my life in the United States or whatever, but there is supposed to be a mechanism put into place to say on days we're going to pick up, this is what we're going to pick up, bottles, the days plastic, days with trash, and compost stuff. So that way there's a control on it, and people know when to put out, what to put out. But you just see all kind of garbage in the street, everywhere. And hence we have a problem with this rat issue. You have businesses who are putting out trash, or the gutters who are, totally clogged on rain, and you have restaurants next to it, and it's like stinking up Roseau. You walk into Roseau. I don't even want to walk around Roseau anymore, because especially there's a certain street you walk down and just smells like trash, and there's a restaurant next to it. That's the problem. But you're promoting Dominica as nature island of the Caribbean. Who wants to come next to a restaurant but smelling trash, gutter, stinky gutter? Every Sunday, I think they should be washing down Roseau, just cleaning Roseau down, So it's just, I absolutely love the show. And I just did my food handler's permit, certification again. And there was a gentleman from Portsmouth who was speaking, a vet, Mr. Daniel, I think, Brian, I think his name was, speaking about our meat. So when you speak about, you talk about something in reference to that, and I say it's such a great thing, because we have to learn how everything should be managed if people are handling food out there. So I just wanted to call in, because it's such a great show and very informative, and they should really have you on board and trying to, because we have so many laws, but they're not being implemented. They're just on paper. And I think that's one of the biggest problems. No one is, enforcing the laws. But thank you very much. Great show. I'm listening.
Thank you very much, caller. I don't think everything you said I've agreed with you in terms of the stench of Roseau. I mean, yes, Roseau has a stench some places, but the way the magnitude of what you're saying, I don't think. Yes, Scotty.
Yeah, but Cecil, you have to get serious. Roseau have what I call some pee-pee holes in it. Human peace. The place just stink of peace. We need to have a situation in Roseau where you put urinals around the tongue. On cubicles, you have a sewage system in Roseau. It's easy for you to install some urinals around the town people can use to pee, urinate when the time comes. And just be going in every little corner and pee. Give Rosa a bad smell. We have to get real. I call it sometimes a pee tongue.
Let's go back to the telephone. Good evening, caller.
Hey, good evening, Joseph.
Good evening.
Scotland, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Mr. Scotland, I want to congratulate you for all the things you have been saying. Because I heard you said you went to the university and other places, Jamaica, Barbados. So this is not Ronnie that's speaking. This is a man that's trained by professions to come back and train young people. Scotland, I want to ask you my first question. If the Prime Minister call you and ask you to help him on the field, even within Roseau, do you would assist?
Yeah, I'm available.
Mr. Scotland, I want to bring something to your attention. It's not about criticizing Dominica. In the center of Roseau there are simple little things that can be solved. We're going to have a big World Creole Festival coming.
Mm.
You go up that street to Astafans. I don't really want to mention the business place. You have a bakery.
King George V Street.
That's King George.
King George V Street.
I don't call nobody name. Don't call no business.
No. You said the street name is King George V
Yes.
Street.
You have a bakery on that street. You have a supermarket on the next side. And then you have a bread shop lower down. And if you just walk up, there is a little old building in the center. There is a homeless person living there.
Yeah.
They put all the waste coming down that drain. You know?
Yeah.
And Scotland, everything you're saying there is just the truth. The simple things we have to do, you know. These people, you care for them. You build a home, like you're saying there, and you get professional, like you have the Cuban health people coming to deal with them. This is human being, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you have somebody sleeping under the bridge. When you go across the link road, you have a guy sleeping in a hole there. A landslide fall down right in front of the door. Suppose he's sleeping and that whole thing collapse on him. Somebody have to take care of him. Scotland, when you walk across the ministry, you have the little trash bin, the little green bin. You're smelling a dead animal in there. And all what you're saying about the gardens and the development for sports, you're totally right. You're a cricketer, you know, you play cricket from young. And when I speak and I bring those ideas there, people cursing me. But Scotland, I'm in small business and I'm seeing the things that affecting small business. You getting me? The farmer have to speak because the farmer working on the field and he cannot make money. It's not about hating the government or criticizing the government. It's facts we're speaking. Scotland, I work for 15 years in the tourism business and dealing with the cruise people. And if you hear how much impressed them people impressed of Dominica. And in Scotland, just stop your phone and look at some of those little islands in the region, South America, how them people booming in tourism. Look at Northern Ireland, a little piece of land across England there. Them people have boiling lake, and them people, tourists, all these rich people is there going and retire. And I don't know how to talk against Scotland, boss. How continue have doing your good work. I get frustrated for you.
Thank you. But you see, Scotty.
So people get frustrated.
You see, Scotty. I want to say that it's about the people.
Yeah,
You have rules, and I'm saying that these rules, and I remember being the mayor of Roseau, I was very unpopular. If you remember,
I do.
I was very unpopular because I felt that you had to get the police to be more involved.
You know
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when people talk about government, and government are there to put policies in place, and systems in place, and you have authorities now that have to enforce
it. Yeah.
So I'm saying that we now need to remove from our minds, erase from our minds that whole issue of party politics, and start to be square on people and to say to them that they are responsible.
Yeah.
So the PPing is not the government that PPing.
No.
It's not the government who PPing. It's the people.
Back to the people.
You know what I'm saying? And,
But then
and,
but
and
then
it-
if
I would
you
hate
have
to
no
believe
pe-
that I would hate to believe that a police officer would see someone peeing somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And
But they
not
don't take no action.
and not take any
They
action.
don't take action.
So that's the point I'm making. So
That's-
so let us
this is what I'm talking about here.
let us be square. Let us be square.
Don't become a thing in it constitution called the ombudsman. You know, the ombudsman was a creature created to look at accountability in that system, you know. And if people have grievances, to take the grievances to that person, and they will now see how they can solve it. Because what I think in Dominica right now going on right now, you employing people into positions, and they're not, in terms of accountability, they are not taking on their responsibilities, and nobody really evaluating their work and accounting for that work and that money that is spending on them. So that system we in there of rubbing shoulders and being nice to everybody, this guy get you nowhere. You have to follow certain procedures and processes for things to happen.
And Scotty,
Yeah.
what are the things? I'm not even talking about the United States. I'm talking about just Guadeloupe, just there. When we leave the shores and we go the other side, we don't do those things.
Automatically, they can.
Automatically. So I'm saying that what we need to do is to we need to create the environment for persons to start to, I don't use the word obey, but to obey. You know what I'm saying? And if we do this thing, we will remove from our minds that it is the government. All right? Because
But
many of the times
at the end, they're gonna be blaming the government because the government has the final authority to get things done.
No. The government has system in place, and the system in place is the authority.
Yeah, but
All right.
if the government,
So there must be,
yeah,
for
yeah.
me, there must be a yardstick where the person that is being employed to be supervised and monitored and to evaluate.
Yeah.
And when you do that, people must now start to pay for what they're not
They're
doing.
not doing.
And when you do that, people say you bad. People don't like you.
Take
But
like
you know what? I don't want people to like me for doing things that are right. You know what I'm saying? People are telling you, I'm hearing some people saying that we must stop using human beings as a tool, but use them as human resource. That is fine. For me, that is fine. But if that human resource is not doing what is required, I have to use it as a tool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We have to be upfront
No, but
and be
we
honest
see,
with people.
We have been pussyfooting in Dominica and
For too long.
for too long.
Too long.
Too long. Government had to get serious with their work. I say there's the part of accountability you have to account. Yeah, and it starts from government.
So I'm saying,
Right.
look at how I look at it, Scotty. Sorry about that, but look at how I look at it. You have solid waste. Solid waste is managed or is supervised by a statutory institution.
Decision.
The statutory institution is supposed to put policies in place
Yes.
to ensure that guidance is given. If you're not given those guidance, remember this: the board is responsible to the minister.
Yeah.
The minister should be getting reports of the functionality of the institution.
Decision.
And if the minister is not satisfied, I don't care if you labor, if you workers, if you freedom, if you nobody, you have to be dealt with.
Yeah, because you can have a non-functional board. You have to be paying them what do you call it?
Stipend. Director's fee.
And they're not doing nothing for you.
Right.
You understand me? So that I tell you, it come back to you at the end of the day. It come back to you, the government. Here.
Yes, because at the end of the day,
Yes.
you put the framework in place.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
if you're not
And
evaluating it,
and so before it even reaches the minister,
Yeah.
you have what is called the senior officers, the PS, the permanent
Yeah.
secretary.
That have-
The
they have
permanent
their work to
secretaries
do.
have to now take their responsibilities.
Responsibility.
And I think we're not telling these people those things enough.
no,
They
they're not-
have
they're
to
not-
take their responsibilities.
we have a break in that chain.
And I think sometimes it's not ignorance, it's just deliberate statements that people make. You know, it's scary too. It is the minister. But where is the person in between?
Yeah.
You're giving central government, or you're giving the minister too much power that he doesn't have. So everything has to pass the PS. The PS doesn't do what is required because the PS still has to monitor solid waste. And we're just using solid waste as an example.
Yeah, but they are the overall responsibility.
But they have the overall responsibility.
Yeah.
And then in return, they create their cabinet paper where it is discussed in cabinet in reference to what has to be done, the changes that are required.
Yeah.
And we have to start telling people that if we do not change our attitude towards work, we're going to have problems.
Yeah.
Good evening, caller.
Yes, Cecil.
Yes, good evening.
I totally agree with everything you're saying, Cecil. Because I've been saying that for some while now, and I've been hanging on a tree. And it's time for us to speak. And unless we don't speak, those things will not change. I've been saying exactly the same thing you have been saying. Cecil, you had a former minister last week on your show. And you had another permanent secretary. I think he was ambassador. And they were saying the very same thing you're saying. And when you say things like that, people take it to task like you hate the government. And we don't understand we must take the system serious. I think one of the things who run in the country have to put on his foot more seriously. You find when you go to some of the ministries, people pushing you around. I personally go and speaking to a minister and the way your director talking to him. I tell him, but what happening? You the minister and the man have you spinning you all over the floor. I want to call names. And you cannot run a country like that. You're going to put the government in a lot of trouble. Look at what happened at the grammar school there. So you want to tell me if I'm going to know other body response? Well, what the Prime Minister has to do now is people like Mr. Jeff Scotland, the contractors, the outsiders contractors, give them a contract to supervise government building and to do what Jeff Scotland saying there. Hire a private individual like what he's saying there, get chokers, get an environment officer like Mr. Scotland to help the government to do some work and forget about those people there. That is what the guy in Burkina Faso doing. That's why the system working like that. He hire private people to do government work. Because we heard the Prime Minister say something the other day that he had a serious talk with the government workers because they don't give him service. You go to the minister office in Roseau there, the minister office on a Thursday for Roseau, and you have a few people inside of there pushing her around. They're making one set of people see her, some don't see her, and one questioning you. You can't run a system like that. Mr. Scotland talk about tear gas in the river. 79, a lot of bullets fly over my head in Marigot at the airport. And everybody know who was the politicians at the time. I was a young boy, I get myself involved in things because I didn't know better. So what Jeff Scotland telling you, there's the reality. These are the men that fight this struggle, You tell he was demonstrating and you get tear gas in the river. Good night, brothers.
Thank you. Scotty?
Now, he made a point earlier which we didn't touch on, which is the mental ill people in the city of Roseau. Mental illness is a major issue, Cecil.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not dealing with that subject properly. Too many mentally challenged people are just left by the wayside. I mean, and they create littering in the city. I see they put in some litter bins in certain strategic area around Roseau. Every Friday morning I get up and I go into church. I go to church on Friday morning, early morning, 6 o'clock church. There is a series of bins where some mentally challenged people will come. They will take out all the garbage in the bin and they put it right around the bin. You understand me? And Roseau is just in a dirty state. And I say, but nobody is looking at that in the night. Nobody is seeing that. Roseau got cameras that seeing that somebody is taking out bins, rubbish, and just dirtying up Roseau. You understand me? Is that who's that function? Who's supposed to take that measure to prevent that from happening. A mentally ill person is on the road, sleeping on the road, peeping on the road, pooping on the road, and it does have them lying down there on the road. I mean, but we don't have no sense of we don't feel no hard feeling again, man. That the country that we just get immune to those things. We need to seriously put a policy in place to deal with mentally ill people, to remove them from the street and put them into an institution where they can get treatment. I think recently they had a mental health week going on where they were talking about some new strategy for mental health in Dominica. I hope they open their eyes to see what's happening on the streets to mentally ill people. There's a lady I see actually last week Friday. She was actually naked on the road at about 6:20 in the morning, walking up and down in the city of Rosa by the Credit Union. And that is where she looked like she's sleeping in the cubicle there and just thinking of the place. We have to do something better for the mentally ill people in the Rosa City.
Well, these are problems that and from terms of environment, we can deal with, or we should try to deal with.
Because it have issues on your waste management and littering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and creating an ambience which is not really pleasant in a town.
All right, Scotty, before we go, we have a few more minutes. I have to go into sports because you are a lover of sports. I know that you are a broadcaster. You give commentaries on sports, sporting activities, and sporting events. My first question to you is in reference to the West Indies. What do you make of the West Indies team now, as a commentator?
Well, West Indies, something is wrong with the West Indies team. Basically, I don't know what is the new strategy. There's a new strategy by the coach, the head coach, where he's looking at statistics to pick a West Indies team. What the statistics is using is to be not pertaining to everybody. Because you try to bring in you say you're gonna get some new players in and create a new setup for West Indies cricket. We have two young Dominican batsmen. They were just axed unceremoniously. Cecil. They were just axed from the West Indies team, and you bring in guys to me that they have no better records than them. Shea Hope still averaging at 24.25. You are the captain, the same thing, Chase. Brandon King had just started playing cricket. That's his first test match. You bring that one they call
he did well. He got 75.
He got 75.
Yeah.
He batted well, but his second inning was of no significance in that last test. The opener from Jamaica there again,
Campbell,
John Campbell. He got what 48 for his eyes total in 2 matches. I mean, Sam, you have to rethink that strategy.
But do you believe...
First of all, West Indies cannot be taking one man to make him a coach for every facet of the game in the Caribbean. 2020, ODIs, and Test cricket. That is madness. You understand me? One man figured whether you have to be running and juggling from there to there. I mean, come on, man. In 2025...
But Scotty, do you honestly believe... Do you honestly believe that the axing of Afanaz is not justified?
Afanaz could have taken a rest, but what I would still persevere with him, because if you look at his stats and his average, he's scoring runs, right?
But his last few games he wasn't.
But what about Hodge? Hodge had just scored a century in England. He won a test match for you against the same Aussies. When Australia had their best side in Australia. To beat Australia in Australia, you think it's an easy thing? That don't happen 30 years, 30-something years West Indies beat Australia in Australia. Hodge assist you in beating him. Hodge and the same wicketkeeper from Trinidad. that he asked him also. That what's his name? Didn't matter, always doesn't stick in mind. That white man.
I know. The silver.
This Silver. Why you could what this Silver to me should be the captain of West Indies right now. This Silver. Captain, wicketkeeper batsman.
That's a bold statement, eh?
Yeah, I tell you, this Silver is supposed to be captain, not Chase. And that's why West Indies always are making mistakes in putting square pegs in wrong holes. They take one they call Jason Waller and making a captain, that's the worst captain that ever passed. They feature Jason Waller, they put another one they call Brathwaite. And Yepala. And these Belgians have figured, well, they have to beat Conquer and they're supposed to be leading West Indies cricket. This Silver should be the captain of West Indies right now. And that's why they have this Sammy, you have to get 3-0 for him to start thinking. And the West Indies Cricket Board have to rethink that strategy of putting him as the head coach for the three formats of the game.
Would you axe the neck of the coach?
Naturally, the coach have to go. So why you axing everybody's neck and his neck can't go? Huh?
What is his what is his record like?
Check his record. he played 5 games in England and Ireland. He won what? 1. So right now he plays 20 Caribbean. He has won only 1. None. So check his record. So West Indies have a habit of asking players to go, but poor coaches they have been holding them on for a while. So the coaches have said they're not going, but the players have to go.
Who would you put as the coach now?
No, I haven't think seriously of a coach yet, but there must be coaches in the Caribbean that can replace those guys like Sammy. Nobody not fooling me. You understand me? There must be coaches in the Caribbean that can replace him.
Let me ask you, what you make of commentators in Dominica? Do you think we have sufficient? Do you think the system of broadcasting has changed the whole process of broadcasters for commentaries?
Well, we need more people doing commentaries, because even today we were looking to get some commentators to do a game in St. Joseph, and we were struggling to get commentators, and that's an area in the sport that young people must gravitate towards it, because there's a lot of potential for people doing commentaries. If you look at now globally, you have cricket being played all over the world, T10s, 2020s, all sort of franchise, and they are paying commentators good money, Cecil. So the young people coming up, young cricketers, they can also look forward to that stream as an area to gravitate to.
But Scotty,
and Don, because when I was growing up, I listened to commentators like my favorite commentator was Jeff Chas. Mm-hmm. I just used to admire that man. Ozzie Lewis coming after
Joseph Thomas.
Then, Joseph Thomas.
You had Paul Joseph.
Tom Lafford did a little bit of commentaries. Yeah.
So you had quite a number of
Heavy Shillingford.
Yeah, Heavy
Shillingford.
but the problem that we have, I'm seeing that we have, Scotty. We don't have the heavies, the people like the heavies anymore. Yeah. You did not play plenty sports, but knew all sports.
Yeah.
So we don't have young men today playing football or cricket or basketball. Like in those days, so to have a greater understanding of the game. You know, so I suspect we are also going to have problems even in the very near future for referees.
No, what we're gonna have is specialists, because I always believe in that thing too, because if we have several sports being played, but then you have a limited pool. So you have people that specialize in basketball. They know their basketball properly. You need volleyballers, because volleyball is another sport that is growing. You understand? You have sports like cricket. They would always have a lot of people doing cricket, because cricket is basically a listening game, or you viewing it but you listening a lot. Cricket, football, and the other sports like athletics. Because in Dominica, I don't think we have nobody basically doing athletics. Athletics is a skill by itself to commentate. You have a thing like boxing, you understand? But if you cannot have too many all-rounders. Get some specialists for different areas. Right now, I've been enjoying a new sport I'm doing is the
Tennis?
racing. The
Oh,
racing.
the racing. Bicycle racing?
Bicycle racing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and racing itself as a, in terms of racing itself, it give me a lot of leeway to talk a lot of history, a lot of environmental things that you've seen. Because when you're doing a race, remember it's a lot of distance of you're running, like you're going 20, 50 miles sometimes. So you have a lot of things to talk about. It's not like the conventional sport that you sit down and just watch a man hitting a ball or kicking a ball.
Not running commentary.
Yeah, so so you're along with these cyclists, but they'll be passing through communities. You have history to talk about. You have rivers to talk about. You have mountains to talk about. You understand? So it cannot give you, if you're a geography student, it then give you a lot of leeway to talk about your geography. Yeah.
Talks
So
about
I would
the
basically
rocks, the water wrong, the environment.
the environment.
You know?
Yeah. So the concept of commentaries, I would get a cadre of commentators and maybe get them specialized. Some people doing certain sports, one can do one or two sports. But then if basketball, specialized commentators there, we have some for football, cricket, volleyball, athletics. Because netball is another one. Netball is another sport that you need the good commentators. Because netball is a very quick game. And right now I see the game getting it in a faster pace of netball. So you need to have specialized people to do this work there.
So you love doing your commentaries.
Yeah, I love commentaries. I love quick sports. I like attacking sports. I don't like to. It's like cricket. I can't watch boring cricket. I get pissed off very quickly by watching too much boring cricket. I like attacking cricket. It's same thing like football.
But you were an attacking batsman.
But yeah, man, I was the most prolific batsman in my family. What are you talking about now?
I meant to ask you that. I meant to ask you who was the best batsman in your family.
I was the most attacking of all the batsmen. You know when
No man, I think your other brother.
And Jeff.
No. I think
John is
a better batsman.
No, John is a blocker.
No, John is a more complete
John
batsman.
can stay there and bat
No,
for you.
John is a more. He had better strokes.
John is a blocker.
Better strokes. Understand the ball. Great thinker.
John is a good blocker of the ball.
Understood the ball as well.
His defense is very strong. But when for stroke play, he can meet me stroke play.
He used to have a good drive. He used to drive well.
Yeah.
Drive
and other boys like Electric Scotland. Those guys are on my uncle's side. Anthony Scotland, Linus Scotland, and those guys are good players also.
Yeah, they can hit the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can hit the ball. I mean, if you come out on the West Coast, you have to be able to hit the ball. So that's it. But Scotty, as we come to the end of another wonderful program, I know the time has really fly on us, and I'm happy that you enjoyed yourself. You were able to speak on the issues that I really wanted you to speak on, every aspect, and I want to hear from you. What do you think of the program?
But the program itself was quite good. We were able to touch on many areas. We look at issues of the environment. We look at sports, some social issues in the country, and as you see, the work that I do really is basically social work. It's like I always tell myself I'm more a social scientist because I've been doing my research work has been basically in food safety, areas of driver's knowledge, attitude and practice and behavior, that is traffic accidents prevention, and areas of vector control and mosquito control, and these areas are impacting on human health, and in our Dominica situation today, the environment has to play a pivotal role in management of a lot of diseases around us, and we can see that we have areas that we have to tackle. We have made strides in certain areas. Particularly, I will tell you, we have made strides in housing. Housing, to me, it's really one of the cornerstones of environmental health. And the government of Dominica have invested heavily in housing. They have put structures in place for people to be living in better and safer environments. But we need to build on these things and move forward in managing some of the other factors in the environment that can impinge on our health.
Just want to say to you, Scotty, thank you so very much for being my guest tonight. I was happy to host you, and the kind of information that you're able to give to the general public. I'm very happy to talk about your yard, your Lakou, how you formulated from when to then.
When to then.
Yeah, and you were really a very good guest tonight, and I want to say thank you so very much, and hoping that it will not be the last.
The next thing I want to talk to you is when I think in by January, so I should have my public book in terms of history and showing you the development process that happened over the years, areas of food safety, liquid waste, water, solid waste, institutional health, and communicable disease. Where we move from that situation to where we are, because you have a whole disease transition taking place, where we move from communicable disease basically to chronic disease. People now dying from things like strokes, hypertension, diabetes, cancers. They are taking over the diseases. Whereas the earlier part of the 19th century, 20th century, they were dying from more communicable diseases. So I must say I enjoyed the Cecil review, and I will be back for the next Lakou.
I'll be waiting for you for the next Lakou for sure. Someone just said, very passionate show tonight. I stand with Mr. Scotland and the alarm he has sounded. We need to take heed and do better. And that's a nice way to end. And I just want to say to you, Mr. Scotland, thank you very much. To all the viewers, I just want to say thank you for viewing. To all the listeners, I want to say thank you. Those viewers and who made comments, I really want to say thank you very much. The people who actually called in tonight and to make their comments and to ask their questions, I really want to say thank you very much for your contribution. And let's hope that for this week, that we can continue doing well, doing good for others, and ensuring that the lives of others that need to be up will be given that hands up. So again, thank you very much. Next week, Sunday, again with Lakou program. God's give us the life and good health, and where the condition permits, we'll be having a very, very, very powerful guest. As I said earlier on, he was one who actually started, or one who was with a good friend many, many years. That good friend is no longer around with us. That is, I think his name was Oliver, but we call him Lakou. So we will be listening to him next week Sunday. I will not tell you his name. Just want to make you know that by Wednesday you can go on our Facebook page and you will see who that person will be. And I'm sure that you'll have another enjoyable time next week for us. Thank you, and God bless every one of you as we go across to the BBC World Service.
Palestinian official says the latest round of indirect talks between Israel and Hamas on a ceasefire in Gaza has ended without any breakthroughs. The discussions in Qatar are due to resume on Monday. Hamas is seeking assurances that fighting won't resume if negotiations for a permanent truce break down, but Israel says that's unacceptable. This is the World News from the BBC. Donald Trump has said he will impose an additional 10% tariff on any country that aligns itself with what he